Good morning, students. Welcome to video lecture on Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning with Python. Subject code U18EC502A. Topic Python code for Logistic Regression algorithm. Logistic regression in machine learning. Logistic regression is one of the most popular machine learning algorithms, which comes under the category of supervised learning technique. It is used for predicting the categorical dependent variable using a given set of independent variables. Logistic regression predicts the output of a categorical dependent variable. Therefore, the outcome must be a categorical or discrete value. The logistic regression algorithm will be applied in the situation where we get the output like yes or no, 0 or 1, true or false. Here it gives the probabilistic values which lie between 0 and 1. Continue logistic regression in machine learning. Instead of fitting a regression line, we fit an S-shaped logistic function which predicts two maximum values either in upward direction or in downward direction. These are 0 and 1. Linear regression is used to solve regression problems, whereas logistic regression is used for classification problems. As we know, in linear regression, the regression line will be drawn between the dependent and independent variables. This is the case for a linear regression. It is the dependent variable y, it is independent variable x. For multiple linear regression, the dependent variable can be written as b0 plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2. The same procedure of linear regression will be applied, but the only difference is here n number of independent variables are present in multiple linear regression. In case of logistic regression, a very small difference between a linear regression, it is linear regression, it is logistic regression. A small difference between logistic regression and linear regression is the logistic function can be defined as pi of y is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power minus y. Here, this y variable uh, may depend on the independent variables like x1, x2 up to so on xn based on your application. It may depend on one variable or multiple variable. It is the sigmoid curve or logistic function which classify the data into a class 1 or class 2 dataset. Uh, a sample dataset is given here. GMAT score, GPA score, work experience, and whether a person got admission or not. The status of admission is also given. Here, this can be taken as independent variable x1, it is x2, it is x3. Based on the independent variables, we are supposed to determine whether some X person got admission into a particular university based on the data of GMAT score, GPA score, and work experience. Now here Just how I explained, if it is a linear regression, if it is a linear regression, then y can be written as b naught plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2 plus b3 x3. Now here it is logistic regression. So the logistic regression function can be written as some pi of y is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power minus y. Now Python code steps. The first step of Python code to execute the programming is import suitable libraries. sklearn or scikit-learn is useful to directly uh, determine the logistic regression output. The first step is import library. The second is define data, or you can load the data. Define or load data. If you want to define the data, you can use pandas, or you can load the data from CSV files. Uh, the next step is uh, divide the data into input and output variables. Divide data into input and output variables. Here, for this given data set, GMAT score, GPA, and work experience can be considered as input data set, and admission status can be taken as output variable. The next step is train the model. Sorry. Split the data into training and testing sets. Training and testing sets. The next is train the model using fit function. The last step is predict the output. These steps you have to follow. Once again, I repeat: import libraries like NumPy, Pandas, sklearn, Matplotlib. The next is define or load data. Divide the data sets into input and output variables. Split the data into training and testing sets. In general, the training set can be 70% or 80% or 90% based on your requirement. Uh, the fifth step is train the model with fit function. Fit function is used to train the model. The last step is to predict the output. Python code for logistic regression using sklearn or scikit-learn library. The steps, the coding steps are just we discussed now. Import libraries, import pandas SPD. From sklearn.model selection, import train underscore test underscore split. This library is used to divide the data into training and testing sets. And from sklearn.model underscore linear underscore model, import logistic regression. You can directly apply this logistic regression method, which is already available in sklearn.linear underscore model, to classify the data. Here, defining the data, creating data frame with the help of pandas data frames. Dividing data into input and output variables. Here, input variables are assigned to variable X. The input variables are GMAT score, GPA score, and work experience. And the output variable is Y, the admission status. The next step is to split the data into training set and testing set. You can use this syntax to divide the data into training and testing sets with the testing set size of 30% and training test size of 70%. You can by default select random underscore state is equal to 0. It is 70%. It is 30%. Continue. The next step is define the classifier assigned to the variable logistic underscore regression. It is a user defined variable. You can select whatever variable you like. Then with the help of fit function, the model can be trained. The output will be predicted based on the syntax. It is the predicted value. It is equal to logistic underscore regression. It is the user defined variable which is used for training the model. Dot predict x test will predict the output. Here you can print the text set, test data set and predicted value. The output will be shown like this. Based on GMAT, GPA and work experience. Here the output is 0, 1, 0 means here a person with index 2 did not get the admission into that university. Person with index 2 got the index 8 got the admission. Person with index 4 unable to get the admission. For any program, you can follow the same steps. Either you are using pandas data frame or CSV file, you can follow the Python coding steps as well. Python code for 75% training data, and you are going to test the model with new data. For that, once again, import library, data defined, created pandas data frame, dividing the data into input and output variables, train the model with 75%. You can test with the 25% of data are with the new data. Here I am going to test the model with new data, not with the test size of 25%. Continue to the next page. Defining logistic regression. Train the model with fit function. It is the candidate data. To test the model, you can follow the syntax. We'll get the output, that is 0. One, 1, 0 and 1. Here, after training the model, you can predict the output. The predicted output is shown. You refer to few more programs. Here another program, Python code for logistic regression with 75% of training data and 25% of testing data. In the previous example, we tested the model with the new data. You can follow the same steps to predict the output. One more program on logistic regression with 70% of training and 30% of testing. Follow the same steps to predict the output or to classify the data. Thank you. We will meet with the next lecture.